That a lot of people are led to believe that Davis must grow to survive, and their idea of grow is the rather simplistic idea of growth, which is growing on our periphery. I don't believe that to be true. You know, if we take that step back and we think about how do we, provide good jobs, how do we increase city revenues, and I'll probably should touch on that a little bit, why that's an important thing. And how do we make our community sustainable? This idea that we need to grow our city revenues, people, if you look at it in kind of a sort of narrow lens, it's sort of like, oh, well, there's the council wanting to get more tax money from us. And at some level that's true, but it's also important to really point out that the state and the federal government have completely abdicated responsibility for many things that they used to take care of. So for instance, there's been this sort of back and forth with Jerry Brown and the Assembly over some transportation funds to help take care of local and county roads. There used to be a lot more money available. Right now, essentially nothing. And the city is left to pick up the pieces. We're kind of caught in this position where we are having to take on more responsibilities that traditionally we would have had assistance with from the state and from the federal government. So right now, we should be paying about $8 million a year towards road repair and maintenance. We are currently paying $4 million. When I first took office, we were paying zero, essentially. So we've come a pretty long way, given the fact that our general fund budget is $45 million a year. So of that, the fact that $4 million is going towards roads, and we used to have essentially zero, that's a good thing. But we still have a shortfall. So the citizens were generous enough to pass a slight increase in the sales tax, and it's made a real difference. As we look forward in time, I don't think we should really be relying on sales tax measures or parcel tax measures to fund all the city's infrastructure needs. So there is a pressure to sort of grow. But the growth can be smart. So for instance, there's a group that some of the viewers may be familiar with called Davis Gig. And it's this idea that perhaps the city helps cover the cost of a fiber optic infrastructure so that the citizens and businesses will have fast, relatively inexpensive internet access. I can say that when I've been involved with site selection for work, one of the things we look at is what's the internet connectivity? Is it fast? And if somebody says, oh, we've got fiber optic, we're like, awesome, like A+. Many of the people in Davis, myself included, we pay a fairly large amount of money for a not very fast, reliable connection. And I don't mean to be disrespectful of the entities that provide that service, but it's very similar today as it was 5 or 6 years ago. In terms of technology, the world is moving and we're not. We have the opportunity for higher value-added enterprises to locate within Davis. We don't want to be kind of the lowest common denominator location where people just build low-tech things with low value added. There's also this idea of mixed use, residential, commercial, residential, retail in our downtown core area. As we've seen a few nice buildings go in that I think are keeping with the sensibilities of Davis, and they add value to our community. Personally, I think so. This now is probably a good time to take a little detour and talk about trackside. Because when people hear me talk about that, then they think, oh, well, then obviously you support trackside. I don't support trackside as currently proposed. I'm a big believer in zoning, and I'm a big believer in respecting the current zoning, and then if we are to change zoning, it's done in a comprehensive, thoughtful way.